intersection of making art and making money. How do you take action even when you don't feel ready? You need to, but how do you do it? Hello and welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm, episode 131 with me, Tara Swiger. Today we're going to talk about what's stopping you from taking the action you need to take and how to do it anyhow. But before we do, I want to let you know that tomorrow, if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, tomorrow I am going to hold a free webinar where I'm going to share my own experience with taking leave in my business, which is something I did this summer. I talked about it briefly in the episode on anxiety and depression, but I didn't go into it much. So I'm going to talk more about it in a free workshop tomorrow about how I took 4 weeks mostly offline this summer and how I'm going to be mostly offline for 14 days in November as I teach across the UK. So if you're listening when this is released, you can sign up to take part in that webinar at taraswiger.com/webinar. And if you are listening to this later, that webinar will actually be a piece of my class, which is now available. Anyone who's listening at any time can go check it out at taraswiger.com/leave. That is a class I created with Stacey Trock of FreshStitches, and it's about how to take a break without breaking your business. So I took my experiences both for myself and with the students I've worked with creating their leaves when they had surgery, when they somebody had a parent who had a stroke. Other people, them or their friends, have gone through chemotherapy and they've needed to take a break from their business. And of course, Stacey has the experience of going on maternity leave while still keeping her huge, awesome business running. So we put all that together in a class and a workbook that guides you through everything you need to do in order to get ready for your own break and how to actually plan what you're going to do and not going to do while you're on leave. And it also will include an interactive Q&A with Stacey and I that we're going to hold on November the 4th. So if you buy the class before the 4th, you will get access to that Q&A. And we are talking about doing more Q&As in the future. So after the holidays, anybody who buys the class now will get access to all of those as they happen live. Now, you can find all of that at taraswiger.com/leave. And you can sign up for the free webinar at taraswiger.com/webinar. Okay, now let's talk about the final step in biz confidence, doing the next thing in your business. Now, whether you have been actually following along with biz confidence or not, you may know that during the last 6 weeks, we have gone through 6 steps to build your confidence in both yourself and your business. Those included acknowledging the things you've accomplished and that you can be proud of because your confidence is built on knowing that you've done things in the past. It's also we've talked about acknowledging your things that you have tried and failed at because confidence is built on knowing that you can do something and still survive the outcome, whatever the outcome is. Now, I've said this a couple times, but it's so important. Confidence isn't the belief that everything will always go well and you have nothing to worry about. It is the belief that you can handle whatever comes up. You can do the next thing in your business and you'll still be fine. So we talked about things to be proud of. We talked about things that you have failed at and yet survived, and about how important it is to learn the right lesson from failure. And we have asked, what are you waiting for? In that lesson, you identified the thing that you're not doing because of lack of confidence, and then you tried to look for what were you waiting for, and I told you to do the thing that was standing in your way, the thing you're waiting for, whether it's giving yourself permission, which we talked about last week in episode 130, or it's like becoming better at something, or if it's just all, you're just waiting around for confidence. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, is actually doing the action. Whatever you are waiting for, whatever you needed to give yourself permission to do, whether you're feeling the confidence or not, you need to take action in your business. And this is the important thing I want you guys to remember. I think it's really easy to think, whether you're just starting out or you've been in business for a while, but you're stuck at one thing in front of you, one thing you're not doing because of lack of confidence. It's really easy for that thing to loom large and to become bigger than it actually is. And it feels like this is the thing you have to do to move your business forward. The fact is, it isn't. There isn't one thing that if you do it, everything will be perfect. You'll never have to do anything again. You'll always feel fabulous. There are always going to be new things to do. There are going to be new challenges, new areas of your business where you don't feel competent or confident to do this thing yet. And you have to do it anyhow. That will always come up. So even if you do the thing right in front of you right now that you're feeling like, I'm not sure if I can do it, or I'll survive doing it, or I'm not sure of the outcome, I feel sketchy about it. Once you do it, there will be more things like that. This doesn't ever stop. And this is kind of twofold. The first is there will always be new challenges coming at you in your business, and you'll always be needing to grow in both competence and confidence. And the other side of it is that there is no one thing that will just set your business on the path and you'll be perfect and everything will be great forever and ever. Amen. I was actually just talking to another awesome business owner this week about how that we wish that there was one thing we could do in our businesses. We've both been in business for over 10 years. And we were talking about how that like, it's so easy to get stuck in the mindset, like ourselves, we get stuck in the mindset of, if I could just find that one thing, everything would be solved in my business. If I could just like nail Pinterest, everything would be great. If I could figure out Facebook groups, everything would be magical. If I could just set up systems, everything would be fantastic. Now, yes, those things all can be done and improve your business, but they never make your business. There is no one thing that makes your business. Now, there are a lot of blog posts and classes out there that will tell you, I did X and my business grew this much. All I needed to do was this and I had massive success. They're leaving out all of the other things they did that built that business. They are attributing their success to one thing that was maybe very measurable, but in fact, your business success is attributable to a lot of stuff. And more than anything, consistency. Consistency over time. So I say all this to say that if you feel stuck, this one thing is like looming large and seeming like the thing, give yourself a break. Don't take it so seriously. This is not the one thing that will solve everything, but it is one thing in front of you need to do. Now, I have found 3 reasons why people don't do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, it seems that it always comes down to one of 3 things that people tell me. The first one is that, and this isn't something people say, it's what I realize after we're talking, is that the thing they need to do is too big and too vague. And I've talked about this in the past in the class Get More Done, which you can find at tarsfeiger.com/time. We talk about you can't, like things are projects or tasks. One task is something you can do today. A project is like many, many tasks. And often the thing that people are failing to do is a whole project and they haven't broken it down into the task. But you need to break it down into the smallest step possible. You need to break it down into the tiniest parts. You need to break it down into one thing you can do today. So if the thing in front of you that you are not doing because of lack of confidence is something that would actually take weeks to complete, then it's too big. I need you to break that down into one step you can take today. And then today, do it. So break it down into the smallest parts possible and then do that one task today. Now, the problem often with this is that people break it down into a list and then they think of the list as a whole. So if I told you that to start your business, you're going to register your domain name, you're going to buy hosting, you're going to make 10 things, take pictures of them, write descriptions, list them in your shop. You're going to install Shopify onto WordPress, you're going to install WordPress onto your host. That's a whole list of the steps. I mean, that's not all of the steps, obviously, but that's a bunch of the steps you have to do in the beginning to get started. But nobody does all of them in a day. Nobody starts their business in a day. They start their business the day that they decide to take that first step. So often people will break down their project into tasks, but then look at that whole task list and feel like that whole task list is overwhelming. Instead, I want you to look at the first thing you need to do, the thing that will let you do the other things. So often this is called the first domino. What is a domino you can knock over that will make it easier to knock over all the other dominoes? What is the thing you can do that makes all the other steps possible? So here's the important thing about this first step is that the good news is you might not have to do all the other steps. The reason why you just need to pick one and do one is to get the process started, because you only have to do the one step today. Who even knows if tomorrow will come? And who even knows if everything on your list is actually right? Maybe you won't need to do everything. Maybe some of those things can be done at the same time. Maybe you have a multi-part step list of getting on Instagram and you find that you just do the first 3 and then you're like off to the races. Usually when I go through the map making process with students, and you can find more about that at tarasweiger.com/map. It's a process in which we set a goal and then break it down into milestones, and then break those milestones down into 50 tasks. Most of the time, people reach their goal that we set without doing all 50 tasks. So every once in a while, someone will get really stuck and disappointed and say, oh, I feel so bad because I didn't get all my 50 tasks done for the quarter. But the 50 tasks were not the goal. The goal was the big thing you're moving towards, and often you don't have to do all of the individual steps to actually get to that point. So maybe your goal is starting your shop. Maybe it's making $100 this month. Maybe it's making $1,000 this month. So you break that down into milestones, and then you break those milestones down into what would I need to do to reach that milestone. But often, even most of the time, you're going to reach those milestones before you've actually done each task, and you're going to reach the bigger goal before you've even done all the tasks. Because the tasks were just, what do I think is going to get me there? But they're not a for certain thing. That is why you don't want to think of the whole list as I have to do all of this. Instead, keep your goal in mind and ask what is the next step to moving towards that goal. Now, the map making process can make all of this easier because it lets you actually identify what are some of the steps, but then each day you just do the next step. So you need to know what those steps could be so that you can do the next thing, but that doesn't mean you are committing to doing all of them. And you can find the map making guide at tarasweiger.com/map, and I'll be holding workshops on map making as part of both of the classes I'm teaching in the UK. So just yesterday on Twitter, somebody said, wow, are you really teaching in Manchester? And I realized I failed to tell you guys, I'm really teaching in Manchester. So I'll be at the Geeky Puffin Knit Palooza retreat, teaching map making and another workshop. And that's outside of London. And I think most of those spots are taken, but I'm teaching 2 days of workshops, which is kind of like a 2-day retreat in Manchester, England. And map making is one of the many things we're going to do. We're also going to make a plan for social media, and Jolie is going to help me teach that part. She has an amazing YouTube channel and has a fantastic tech editing business. So I just wanted to tell you guys because it's been on my mind. I'm working on the worksheets for those classes, and I want to make sure all of you listeners knew I will be in the UK. You can sign up for that either both days of that retreat or just one day at joliecreates.com/Tara. Or if you go to tarasweiger.com and you click on the events tab, that'll take you to that information. Okay, now, so if your thing is too vague, that's one of the reasons people don't do it, is because it's too vague and it's too overwhelming. You need to break it down into steps. The second reason people don't do something is that they're waiting. And we talked about this a couple episodes ago when I asked, what are you waiting for? Often people tell me that they're not doing something because they're waiting to feel ready. That is the most BS reason I have ever heard because you are never going to feel ready. There is no, what you're basically saying is I'm waiting because I'm waiting. What you need to do to take some action in your business is to decide I'm not going to wait anymore. Now, I think in reality, often number 2 is related to feeling scared. You're waiting till you don't feel scared anymore, and you're waiting till you have the confidence to do it and not go down in a fiery mess. This is what I want to tell you. It is okay to feel slightly afraid. It is okay to feel nervous. It is okay to feel like maybe you're not quite sure if you're doing the right thing. That is not a sign you're doing the wrong thing. So it is okay to feel some pain or fear as you're growing and you're taking the next step in your business. often I think we take fear to mean it's the wrong way to go. That is not necessarily what that means. You know you better than anyone, but many, and I think you, if you look back at some of the best things you've done in your life, many of those first steps were drenched in fear, right? Applying to colleges, going on a date with somebody you really liked, marrying somebody that you loved. I don't know about you, but I was not like free and clear of all fear. I had a lot of fear about what could go wrong when I got married. Parenthood, right? There's a lot of fear that drenches each step of those decisions, and yet you know that that's not a sign that it's necessarily wrong. So you need to tune in to what you know you really want to do as a next step in your business and say, is it okay if I feel a little afraid and I do this anyhow? Now, the third reason people don't do something, and this is really tied into number 2, is that they don't actually want to do it. And I'm going to say that's okay. If you are not doing whatever the next step is for you, maybe it's going and talking to retail locations and starting to wholesale. If you keep putting it off and you keep putting it off and you know what the next steps are, the next step is really small, you could do it today, and you can't identify what you're waiting for, maybe you feel a little fear, maybe it's that you just don't really want to do it. Maybe that's not the direction you need to take your business. Now, the tricky thing is, waiting around for something, waiting to not feel scared, and you really not wanting to do something, it's often hard to tell the difference between the two, right? You might think, well, I'm waiting to really be sure. Or, I feel a lot of fear. Maybe I don't want to do that at all. When in fact, it is where you want to go. The only way I know to distinguish between these two things, to figure out if you want to do it, but you're just feeling a little afraid, or you truly don't want to do it and it's your gut telling you this is the wrong way to go, the only way I know to distinguish between those two scenarios is to look at the big picture of what you want from your business and your life. So, what kind of business are you going for? And with that, I mean, how do you spend your time? What do you spend your time making? And how much money do you make? Do you want to make? So, in our example of waiting to talk to a retailer because you want to start wholesaling, it might be you're not doing that yet because you haven't done the math and you don't know if that's actually the right next step for your business. How do you know if it's the right next step for your business? You zoom out and you look at, how do I want to spend my time? What do I want to be making? Does a wholesale profit margin make sense for my business and my desired income? Then you need to do those steps before you'll know if it's right for you. I see so many people go towards that, or let's say doing craft shows, or offering a certain product, or being on a certain social media tool. They do it because they've heard that they're supposed to do that next, that is the next step. They look around at their peers and they say everyone else who was selling on Etsy is now wholesaling. Well, if you don't do the numbers for your own business with your particular numbers and your particular products, and if you don't look at who you want to be working with and how much you want to be making, you won't know if it's right for you or not. You won't know if that's truly the right next step or not. So the first thing is to get clear on the big picture and then ask yourself, how does this fit into that bigger picture? And then also to actually listen to your gut for a minute and say, how do I feel about this? With retail shows and craft shows, go to them first as an onlooker to see if you feel good about working with them or not. I've been in a lot of situations where there was a business opportunity, but when I looked at it, I just didn't feel great about doing it. So that was a sign. It's not that I was waiting on something. It's not that I was afraid. It's not that I needed to do the thing. I didn't feel great about it. And it wasn't, ooh, this is exciting and also kind of scary and exciting. It was this is just not how I should spend my time. So that is something you want to be clear about. The difference between, are you just kind of afraid and you're holding off because you feel fear? Or is it really not the right step and you don't want to do it? So look at the big picture, ask your gut, where do I think is the right direction to take my business? And ask that question. Don't ask about the specific task. Because your gut may tell you, I really don't want to do this specific task. Like some days I do not feel like podcasting. I do not feel like being on camera. I just want to hide and be under my covers and not do anything. That doesn't mean that podcasting isn't the right path for me to go down. It just means like in the moment I don't want to do the thing. But my gut knows this is how I want to be spending my time, and this is how to best serve my people. So it's what I do, even if I don't feel like it may be in one particular moment. So look at the big picture, ask your gut if this is the direction you want to go, and then part of looking at the big picture is running your numbers, being clear about your numbers and if it makes sense, and then do it. Then try it. Experiment. Tell yourself this is all an experiment, and don't take it so seriously. Don't take yourself or your business so seriously that you think it would all fall apart if you make one mistake. Know that you might make some mistakes and go in some of the wrong directions, and it will still be okay. Okay, so this week's challenge is for you to do the thing. Whether you are just joining us or if you're listening to this 2 years from now, or you have been doing Biz Confidence, or perhaps you fell off in the middle of Biz Confidence, I want you this week, the week you're listening to this, to do one thing you've been waiting for the confidence to do. What if you need to break it down into doable tasks, or you need to just address the fear and say, oh, I feel a little scared about this. Then look back at what you've accomplished, look at what you have survived, decide to do it. Then snap a picture of you doing the thing or right after you've done the thing and share it with the hashtag BizConfidenceChallenge and tell us what you're sharing. Don't just use this tag along with a bunch of other tags and random pictures. Tell us what it's all about. Tell us the thing you did so we can celebrate with you, because that is my favorite part of this, is celebrating with you. So snap a picture of the thing that you did and then share it with the hashtag BizConfidenceChallenge, and then go there and look at all the amazing things people are doing and celebrate with them. I hope this helps you do the thing. I hope this helps whatever was holding you back and that you feel great moving forward. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I appreciate it. Remember that you can learn more about taking leave in your business at my new class, taraswiger.com/leave. And if you're in the UK and you want to join me in November, when you're on taraswiger.com, just click on events and you'll see the details on that page. Thanks so much, and I wish you a very enthusiastic day in which you do all of the things. Thanks so much for watching. You can get weekly lessons like this in your inbox, along with access to worksheets and checklists and transcripts from all the podcast episodes when you sign up below. You can also subscribe on YouTube, and YouTube will notify you when there's a new video. And you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. If you do, be sure to say hello or leave a comment below the video to let me know you're there. Thank you so much for watching, and have a very enthusiastic day.